The thing that would be alarming if you were somebody who doesn't want to shut down, which is probably most people, is that both sides feel incredibly comfortable in their positions.
Well, at least for now. Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Thursday, September 18th, 2025. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, Washington careens toward a shutdown. Number two, the Senate Republican primary race in Texas could get a third candidate. And number three, from Punchbowl News Tech Policy, China hawks are holding their breath on a Trump TikTok deal. All right, Jake, let's get into it. It is a very busy Thursday for both of us. Not only are we kicking off the morning early, but we have Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer at the Punchbowl News Townhouse later this morning to talk all things shutdown, New York politics, and much more for our third edition of Flyout Day.
I was joking with our team yesterday. We're not going to ask him about New York politics or the shutdown. We have other things to talk about, but we don't. We are going to talk a lot about the shutdown. We're going to talk a lot about the shutdown and what he sees happening and what all the ins and outs of this situation are. Let's talk about where we are right now. Republicans and Democrats are digging in. That's the only way to say it, Anna. Democrats released their own shutdown offer yesterday, and that offer is basically a month-long CR that would have a permanent extension of Obamacare premium tax credits, in addition to the reversal of huge Medicaid cuts from the One Big Beautiful Bill, and they want to bar any future rescissions, tie the president's hand, and restore public broadcasting funding.
It's a lot of things there, Jake.
This reminds me of when Republicans wanted to repeal Obamacare as part of the funding bills in 2013. God, I'm dating myself, which was almost 13 years ago, which is scary to think about. So, yeah, it's reversing the president's agenda. And it's also even like, let's get rid of the One Big Beautiful Bill stuff for a second and focus just on the enhanced Obamacare tax credits. You are not going to get just, we've been saying this for weeks, such a huge policy on a 7-week CR.
Right.
And I understand the Democrats' argument. Let me say this. They need 60 votes, and this is their price to get 60 votes. And Schumer's saying, let's just talk about it. Let's negotiate. And Thune and Johnson are saying, I talked to Johnson yesterday a couple times, and he said, my offer is a clean 7-week CR. We could talk about all these other things. We could have negotiations if you want, but not right now. And let's keep the government open in 12 days from now. And then we'll have a conversation about everything else, all these other issues a little bit later. So they're in their camps, they're digging in, they're both. And the thing that would be alarming if you were somebody who doesn't want to shut down, which is probably most people, is that both sides feel incredibly comfortable in their positions.
Well, at least for now.
Well, yeah, I can only talk about right now, yeah.
I know we can talk about a lot of things, but we are talking, I'm just saying,
and we're
12 days out. There is still time here. I get, this is the politics that they have, right? If you're Democrats, they cannot be seen as folding, but it is this short-term CR that they're kind of proposing is a grab bag of policies that they want to have. And we'll see. If Democrats really are going to get to the brink. Remember, Chuck Schumer said he was against, kind of funding the government until he wasn't. Right. I think that's the question. We talk all the time about how the Freedom Caucus and these conservative members in the House say they're going to vote against stuff and then they don't. And so you people kind of look at them and say, like, OK, we discount that at this point. Right. Like, you can only cry wolf so many times. How many times is Chuck Schumer going to say, hey, we're going to fight, and then all of a sudden cave? I think that is a real question. We don't know exactly, staring down, an actual government shutdown. Do he and his members actually go forward with it?
I just think, and again, I could be wrong, I just get the sense that he's really digging in here. I'm not, I could be wrong, but he seems, and listen, the big thing I want to also add here is that House Democrats are really skeptical of Schumer and think he's going to fold also. So if he folds, the implications of that are going to be a lot greater. I would say. So that's where we are. And let me just add a little bit of what we call news of the day. The House Republican leadership is looking at tomorrow, Friday, September 19th, for a vote on this CR. They want to do this early in the day. The House Freedom Caucus wants 72 hours, and Johnson wants to give it to them. What Johnson's trying to do here is he's trying to remove any excuse to vote against this bill, which to me makes a lot of sense, just given everything that's going on. He thinks he'll be able to pass it. I think there will be some Democratic votes. They'll force Johnson to get to 217 or 216, whatever the threshold is tomorrow, given attendance. And then there could be some Democrats who jump on, because I think for some Democrats, this is a tough no vote, because they will be branded as voting to shut down the government and on what is really a clean CR. I mean, you could hate what's not in it, and I understand Democrats have a lot of things that they wanted in this that didn't end up in this, but what is in this is clean. So anyway, that is where we are, Anna.
All right, let's run to the number 2 story of the morning. Texas's already messy Senate Republican primary could soon become a 3-way contest. Representative Wesley Hunt, the Republican from Texas, is inching closer to launching a bid after months of trying to boost his profile with statewide ads, according to sources familiar with his plans. We write this morning. This is not good news for either John Cornyn or Ken Paxton.
Yes, we have some polling, the internal poll of the race, and this is conducted by Wesley Hunt's Super PAC. Paxton led with 38. Take it with
a little bit of skepticism.
Yeah, they're trying to get him in the race, and
right.
Our reporting indicates that he is going to get into the race. Do I feel 100% confident of that? No, but he's spending a lot of money on statewide TV to boost his name ID, and that's a sign of something. So in a 3-way race by the Hunt Super PAC, Paxton led with 38%, followed by Cornyn with 28% and Hunt with 23%. In a head-to-head, Hunt led Paxton 39-38, and in a Cornyn-Hunt matchup, Hunt led 46-37. Cornyn doesn't look like he's going to drop out. They are spending a lot of money right now to boost Cornyn's positives. I mean, he's a longtime senator who has been involved in a bunch of bipartisan deals, so they think if they spend some money, he could pull ahead. He has narrowed the gap. Wesley Hunt would be an interesting entrant into this race. There's a theory out there that he would get Trump's endorsement, but there's a theory out there that everyone would get Trump's endorsement. I think if Cornyn really pulled ahead, the White House, the president would endorse him, but right now the president's silent, and it's just leaving this vacuum. And that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, just it continues to muddy the waters in Texas as they're trying to go through a big redistricting effort. And clearly you're going to need a strong candidate at the top of the ticket as Democrats are engaging in their own race there and trying to get the most, prominent candidate they can. We'll have to see what happens. All right, let's run to the number 3 story of the morning from our tech policy reporters. They have an item looking at how Hill Republicans who pushed hard to enact the TikTok ban last year have their fingers crossed that President Donald Trump is going to deliver a deal this week that complies with the law. Trump has been flouting the statute since taking office, of course, and now he says there's a framework of a deal. We don't have any details, but that Trump says he plans to announce after a phone call with the Chinese president on Friday. I think everybody's watching very closely because there's been a lot of talk about deals getting cut and then not actually knowing what is the details of those deals. But there's still concern, right, on the Hill about TikTok, the influence of China, and what's going to comply with the law.
Yeah, and Darren LaHood, who's on the China Select Committee that John Molinar chairs, says any connection to the CCP, that's the Chinese Communist Party, is a non-starter. They want a full break, Anna, and the deal that we've seen outlined in the reporting so far is not a full break. It's just not, you know what I mean? And we'll have to see what it all looks like at the end of the day, because sometimes in these things, the reporting is not exactly accurate. The White House has been pretty mum on this, but the president does seem hell-bent on quote unquote saving TikTok. And I think Republicans are pretty skeptical, but they're going to, there's not going to be any implication if Trump cuts a deal they don't like, because they're Trump allies and they're just not going to go against him.
All right. Hey, before we let you go this morning, I'm going to be in conversation with House Energy and Commerce Chair Brett Guthrie. We're going to be talking news of the day, small business, and AI. His committee has a lot of jurisdiction there. So you can tune in virtually or come join us in person. Just go to punchbowl.news and RSVP at our events page. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media. Tell your friends. It's the best way for folks to find out about us. And of course, you can go deeper on all things Punchbowl News by going to our website at punchbowl.news. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.